Okay, greetings and welcome. It is Tuesday, September 30th, the last day of September of 2025. I am your host, Blake Wally. This is the Eccentric Perspective. I'll be covering the latest news and current events. Kind of an off time, off day. Schedule's a little wacky, but I didn't do anything last week. Busy schedule, erratic, and still trying to get back into a new groove once I get settled with a few things. But let's just run a show. A lot of big topics going on. Possible government shutdown tonight, and so many other things. Huge, important, crazy year of 2025, as it is really things have gotten quite intensified over the last few weeks. Of course, on the Charlie Kirk assassination, which has changed the mood of everything. So I think I'm going to focus on that once again. So it seems to be the most important thing going on. That's saying a whole lot. It's drowned out the whole 9/11 fiasco and the anniversary, and the government shutdown, and so many other things, World War III. But here we are, Charlie Kirk. This isn't going away, and it's just getting, this one, of course, picking up steam, and you got a lot of infighting on different sides over the official story, which is why I have that for the thumbnail headline. Who questions the Charlie Kirk story? Hello, Rob. Good to have you. Yes, it is. As we've entered into fall, different schedules, lots going on. Summer's over, and I don't know exactly what the heck's going to be doing going forward, shows and whatnot, as I reorganize. But glad you could make it at this off time. Hello, glad to have you. Let me do some headlines, although they're mostly going to be centered on the same issue. But that's all good. This is a defining moment for media, as well as they're trying to figure out who's who, and watching the all these so-called influencers, taking different sides on their approach on this key story here. That is the worst political assassination since JFK. Okay, and we'll keep going. So here's all the headlines that I have. Should we trust the FBI to present the Tyler Robinson evidence? And how about Tyler's text messages? Are they proof of his complicity? And is it safe to say that Kirk's assassin was just a lone shooter? How about anyone questioning the official story? Are they just low IQ Jew haters? And would it be better to just kill Robinson now? Because why even bother with all the trial and the time? And is it better that TikTok has been freed from the communist Chinese? Has it been sold? And of course, Pete Hegseth, should he apologize for insulting troops? These stories and perhaps more, feel free to chime in. Feel free to ruthlessly criticize me, troll me, or give positive feedback, whatever. We'll incorporate your comments into the show, Q&A, AMA. Let's begin, but I will just run my very quick intro. How do you do? And then we'll get started. No commercials. Just let me catch my breath, and I will see you on the other side as we dig into this. All of the new twists and turns of all the new narratives today. Okay, here we go. Let's let her rip. Okay, welcome back. Although this is such an off time, it's probably just going to be, this show is just going to be repurposed into clips anyway. But let's just run this live. And if you'd like to chime in, feel free. Other than that, shall we begin? Yeah, indeed. So, what is the first question? Should we trust the FBI to present the Tyler Robinson evidence? Well, I guess that depends on who you ask. I don't even know which part do we start with. Got plenty with the who's who, the Candace Owens, and so many of the other influencers as they are choosing sides. The Tucker Carlson, I guess there's the different factions, the different characters, the Nick Fuentes, the Alex Jones, the Mike Adams, the Ben Shapiros, the neocons, the pro-Israel crowd, the anti-Israel crowd. We all wanted to believe the official story, but some of us are finding some problems with it, as there are several holes. But some people show no curiosity. Some people surprisingly trust the feds. Do we trust Kash Patel and Trump and this regime? Perhaps. Or is it new boss, same as the old boss? Is it deep state pulling strings behind the scenes? Is it Israeli influence? Nobody has made that firm connection yet. But with every time when we find new problems with the story, we start questioning everything, and it starts to make sense looking at what are the other possibilities. Could Israel be thrown in that mix? Maybe. It's at least fair game until it's not. But there are some people that just make their whole life about Jewish conspiracy, and some of it holds water, some of it does not. Okay, what do we got? TK Mark, remember when you watched the 37-second clip Trump posted of Schumer and Jeffries while you were watching another $8.2 million in debt? We aren't a serious country. Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to pay that off. They can just keep printing that stuff out. So I don't even know if it's worth stressing out about anymore at this time. Eventually things are going to crumble. I don't know exactly what to say. I could see the government shutting down, or we're out of money, but they just keep printing more. Are they going to shut down the Fed? But I guess I'm not going to worry too much about it, and we're not going to be able to explain some of this stuff to the people out there, and they're all fired up to give money away to get health insurance for illegal aliens. They don't know what's going on. There aren't a lot of serious people. I think civilization is probably going to be unraveling over the next decade or so. I would love to believe. I'm trying to be more optimistic, but I'm finding fewer reasons. I've lost a little bit of my faith in humanity, but I'm still going to cover the shit show. It is fascinating, although it is obviously frustrating as can be. Yes, what would the FBI want to hide? So many things, but it's weird to see some of the influencers turn on this. The ones that were questioning the FBI for decades are all of a sudden, whoa, on this Tyler Robinson story, they're not. So it's weird to see people switch sides, I guess. But I guess some of this is normal depending on which side is in power. And you see the news media twist, and you see people who are outspoken against one regime turn into mindless cult followers of the next regime. It is a strange phenomenon. And hello, Kenneth. It's great to have you. Thank you. Thank you for the birthday wishes. I am now 48 years old, wasting the prime years of my life in obscurity, making as a weirdo influencer on the fringe of everything, looking in. But here I am, continuing to waste my life away covering the great unraveling of Earth and humanity and the civilization. But apparently, this is all a big cyclical thing, and it just goes around. We've been here a lot longer than we think. And without getting out way into the weeds, I didn't know how much we're going to go into. We're not going to go too many rabbit holes, although I'm probably going to focus most of my attention, of course, on Charlie Kirk. And we'll get into some of the deep existential questions and some of the woo-woo stuff, perhaps on another day. But it's great to be here. Either way, we're all just souls on a little mission on our little planet here, experiencing everything. And I think we'll all continue on. And it's not supposed to, we're not in heaven, right? This isn't supposed to be paradise. This isn't supposed to be just some indefinite cruise like the movie Wall-E or something like that. It's supposed to be a struggle. It's supposed to be a challenge. We're on a weird little planet in this odd little situation, fighting demons and whatnot. Regardless, it's some sort of a weird spiritual simulation, but I'm here for it. We've all got a front row seat. We'll see how things work out. Yes, TK Mark, I know you're very much libertarian-based and strict Austrian economics, and I support that. It is a huge deal, but it's not going to be a huge deal for a lot of people until they start seeing. They don't care and they don't understand it. They just want to tune out and live their lives. And this is why we're part of the reason we're in this situation. And we didn't care that there was reckless runaway spending for so long. But most people can't manage their own budget. They have no idea what's happening in Washington. Everybody just thinks it's free. And this country has been so successful for so long that people just think it's going to keep going on forever and ever. And you can only borrow the credit card so many times. So I don't know, man. Is it worth stressing out over? What should we do about it? We've had these conversations before. I'm up for a solution. My solution would just be to audit and end the Fed. And we can maybe finally turn some of this stuff around. I got to redo the economic system. I just don't think it's going to matter, unfortunately. You want to know the great grand conspiracy is I think there's going to be a global reset, just like the World Economic Forum says, except the Great Reset is going to be something to do more with the Earth. Interesting, tomorrow we got that crazy comet, the 31 Atlas. Is that what they call it? Or is it 3I, I3? I don't exactly know. But there's some weird spatial phenomenon which is only going to accelerate. In fact, I think we're going to find out very soon why our ancestors were obsessed with astronomy and studying the stars. They were obsessed with comets. And the book of Revelations in the Bible is all about comets. And guess what's on tap in 2030s? We've got some major as the Earth is moving around. We're going to go into some major fields. It's like I call it a torrid resonance swarm. We're going to hit 2032, 2036. As we go through a geomagnetic excursion and a possible solar micronova, looking at civilization, looking at so many things, looking at the science. I'd say we're in for quite a ride. Buckle up, because the 2030s are going to get wild. If you think things are intense now, wait till then. And I start to wonder, maybe this is what it's all about. They don't care about solving all the problems, making life better, reducing taxes, worrying about the budget, because they know they're building their bunkers. The Jeff Bezos, the Zuckerberg, so many of the world's elites. They're building doomsday bunkers, and they know what's coming, and they're just going to let civilization go, and it's going to pit us against each other. The peasants, the warfare for the survivors on Earth, while they try to live in their little luxury palaces somewhere, hoping to survive what is coming. I do not know, but I think that's really what it amounts to. I'll say that because I'm a small, obscure guy, like I said, on the ass end of the internet. So I'm not too worried about it. They can just dismiss me as the crazy conspiracy theorist, and I'm okay with that. So, no, they're 30 years young. Yeah, that'd be nice. Not quite. Not anymore. No baby Blake. No. So apparently, this is where it gets. You want to get into the woo-woo? I guess we're getting into the sidetrack. No, I am a Sigma INTJ. I've never felt that connected to humanity. I sort of feel like I'm just an observer on your planet. I don't get it. I don't want to be too connected to anything. I'm almost like I'm just like thinking maybe I'm just a spirit here on a particular lifetime, a mission, a class. This is like a school for spirits. And maybe we'll go on. I don't know. Or do we just reincarnate here over and over again? I haven't figured all of that stuff out. But what I'm hearing, I'm getting back into some of the woo stuff now, getting into the hypnosis. So we go into like the hypnotherapy. And I know Kenneth, I think you're actually a Dolores Cannon fan. I think I've seen that on Facebook. So am I. I read some of her books because she goes into deep hypnotherapy with all of these patients and thousands of people over decades. And many of them tell very similar stories about incarnations, living different lifetimes, whether it's on Earth or other planets or what have you. And she talks about these volunteers, right? There are different waves of volunteers that came to Earth to try to help with the humanity and the demon problem and whatever else is going on this crazy planet. Maybe change things around. So these three waves of volunteers. The first wave are all kind of messed up because they're not used to like dealing with Earth and the problems and the heavy emotions and the densities and what have you. So they're not that effective, but they kind of paved the way for the second wave volunteers, which might include people like me who are just, they feel disconnected. So they tend to be kind of introverted and keep to themselves, and they don't really want to get married and have kids and be tied to the karma of this planet. Getting into the woo stuff. But I don't know. No. So anyway, if we could live to be 200, I'd consider having kids. But in this weird circumstance that we're in on this planet, I just don't know. And it's a 48-year-old man. I would be so old by those time these kids graduated high school. Would be dead by the, I don't know. So it goes too fast. It'd be nice I could have kids 20 years, 18 years, they go to college, and then I still got another 100 years. I got my whole life ahead of me. But it's just, we don't live that long. At least in this particular timeline. I'm not sure. 48 years young and still on. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. Blake, you like the music? Yes, I did get your I've just barely gotten into the thumb drive, Kenneth. I did get it though. Thank you very much. I'm gonna tune in. I thought you were gonna send me some of your DJ mixes. So I'm only maybe 5-6 songs into it, but I will continue plugging away. It's certainly interesting. I like it, but I haven't got more, and I wanted to hear your specific DJ stuff. But we'll get into that. Yeah, take me to a bunker downtown. Starseed, I have no way of proving all of that stuff. I've just been looking at it and going, I don't feel connected to humanity. I don't regret not getting the corporate job and getting married and having kids. I've never really felt like a normal person, like that's my calling. So I'm just looking for other answers, and that was one of those things that I happened to run across again. Is that, hey, maybe some of us were aliens on your world. We're just observers trying to help maybe in our own way, but they wipe your memory because this is supposed to be a challenge, right? But yeah, if you hypnotize thousands and thousands of people, they start going into, yes, past lives and have access to knowledge that they never should know. But when the stories line up, you start to go, hey, there's more to it. There's something more to this reality and this existence, and I'm all for it. So, come back as Carnation Milk. All right. You're 25. What about you, Kenneth? Are you one of the first or second wave volunteers? We're all just having a temporary human experience. We're spiritual beings in these little dense physical three-dimensional bodies with our limitations, with our intelligence and our DNA and all sorts of things. But hey, this is the classroom. This is a training ground. And as far as I'm concerned, the Earth, I think it goes through massive changes about every 6,000 years. It's almost, they could tie it down on a cycle. They have this other thing called, it's a Yuga cycle. It's just about the great year. I think it's 25,000 year cycle that people go through. And we don't live long enough to appreciate how time and this planet. And you go back 6,000 years, that's when all the floods happened. You go back 12,000 years, that was the end of the last ice age, the Younger Dryas. You look at the ancient civilizations, they've left clues all over this planet with all of the great structures. Göbekli Tepe and Machu Picchu, Stonehenge, and the Serpent Mounds, and all the pyramids, and Angkor Wat, and so many things. And there's so much more. You study the Graham Hancock, you study the archaeology, the science, the hypnosis, the spirituality, whether that's Dolores Cannon, that's the Edgar Cayce stuff. You get into the religion, there is something more going on. There is something more with everything. I find that all these subjects fascinating as we stumble through our evolution, trying to figure out questions that are just way out of our heads. And we'll never have enough time. We have too many limitations on our intelligence, and we don't live long enough. We don't have this strong enough memory to retain all this stuff. We're just silly little monkey. We're silly little talking monkeys on this little blue zoo floating around in space. Okay, well, that was quite a side rant. Okay, we went from Charlie Kirk to all the woo-woo stuff. Yeah, no kids for that either. It's star manure. That's a good one. All righty. Well, I think what I refer to as I'm a second-rate, second-wave volunteer, trying to figure things out along with everybody else. But yeah, kids are great, but I don't want the responsibility and that much time. Although I think I'd be an awesome girl dad, and maybe in another lifetime, or maybe a future lifetime, maybe in a past lifetime, I was a great father and I had a big family. But it's just that it's never appealed to me. The whole family thing, doing all that, everything that goes along with that. I like my introvert self being away from the fray in my own little headspace. That's where I survive and thrive. Anywho, okay, well, like we're all the single bachelors here. I do like animals, but no pets at this time. Wait till I get a little bit more permanently settled in. We shall see. But that's it. No kids for this guy. All righty. Well, without further ado, I should maybe get into some of the big topics here. As with the FBI, and I guess you call it a cover-up, call it what you will, with Charlie Kirk. But it seems like, we're only being told a little bit, and we're seeing a lot of influencers that are just like turncoats. I don't know if they're being paid by certain interests, or if they're being foolishly naive. I don't understand. I'm kind of like an anti-influencer. I really don't like having to be the center of attention and putting out weird stuff like some of these other guys do. But I feel compelled to give my take on things as an observer. And here we are. I don't know if I can post that one, Kenneth. Oh, yes. Oh, no, I can. You got a cat. Yeah, cats are cool. Very good. Good for you. I like cats and dogs and ferrets and goats and all that good stuff. But right now, I don't have the time. Haha. Yes. Yeah, who knows, man? I don't. It's good for you. Lucky you found a good one. Keep it. I've always been a little bit odd. I'm not the quite the normal, regular person who is going to settle down, get my corporate job, and have the wife and kids. I always felt like I should try, or I felt like abnormal, like not doing it. But then at some point, I just kind of embraced, like, hey, why am I trying to force myself to be something that I'm not? But if I certainly found a girl that complimented me and we were better as a couple than we could be individual, I would absolutely be on board with that. Maybe another second wave volunteer, right? Somebody I could relate to, but we shall see. Okay, but good for you. I'm happy for all of the good people. That's how we keep the civilization going. Never mind the eccentric weirdo who's just talking shit on the internet. It's the nuclear family that makes the world go round. So, but we'll see. Okay. Tesla. Yeah, we got. What do I need to do it for? I got Elon. Elon Musk will populate the planet for me. Okay, but I do have unvaxxed sperm available. No, just kidding. But let's move on and get to the main story of the day with Charlie Kirk. Maybe eventually. Where to go? How about this one? Let's go here. And this guy came out of nowhere, Ryan Matta, I think. That's at least he's being suspected too of being some sort of astroturfed, controlled opposition. But until I know anymore, he's been doing a fantastic job, pulling open this investigation. Really stepped. It seems like whenever there's one of these events, there's always some like activist who comes out of nowhere and becomes a big star. Mike Benz was one for we could go down the line, but looks like it's Ryan Matta's turn to shine for his heroic efforts, or we'll later find out he's controlled op. But at that point, I mean, if it's all just psyops on top of psyops on top of psyops, then at some point we just have to realize, I guess, my conclusion is that we're just being run by the Anunnaki and the AI, and they know the Great Reset is coming, where the Earth is going to flip 90 degrees. There's going to be a geomagnetic excursion. Civilization is going to unravel and go back to the Stone Age, and it's going to take another 6,000 years to rebuild civilization back to where we are now, and hopefully humanity will get their shit together and start working together to build a better world. Although I think the elites are just going to do maybe what they've done in times in the past, is that they know these things happen and they hold on to all of the knowledge, and they keep it and they use that to their advantage so that they can continue to stay in power. They're like the Morlocks of the time machine story. They go underground, and then they feed off the Eloi every so often. Well, that's what they do now, metaphorically, or maybe literally, depending on how far you want to go down the rabbit hole in the mystery schools and the Freemasonry and the Illuminati and all of that good stuff. Phil G's stuff. No, I am not a believer in Phil G. He's a one-trick pony to me. He did the Cyber Symposium with Mike Lindell, which I thought he did an interesting breakdown and his perspective on that. But I have tuned out of him. It's been all downhill ever since, and now I don't even know if he exists anymore. If we're talking about Godlewski, is he still around? He's kind of fallen from grace, I think. He's had a lot of involved in some scandals, it looked like, and I don't know. But I'll have to check that out. You'll have to tell me, Kenneth. I've tuned him out. Yeah, best get some Andy Nuki. Enjoy it while you can. But I think we could be seeing some, I think tomorrow, right? So tomorrow, the 3-1 Atlas comet, there's like some weird, it's got strange patterns that they don't understand. But our ancestors were obsessed with comets. And now that I've taken a deeper dive down here, and I know that we're going to encounter some of this major field in both 2032 and 2036. I think I don't even know if they're going to be comets. If our ancestors were obsessed with astronomy and studying the stars and talking about comets, I think they were moving in some weird unnatural ways where they thought they were gods or there's something. They're not just regular, just ice and rocks flying around in the sky. There could be some intelligence behind it. But I think we're going to find out over these next few years, and it could be something exciting tomorrow. We shall see. Or it can hit the planet. I think it's a lot bigger and faster than they think, and it moves in ways that aren't really natural for our way of viewing physics. But maybe I mean I don't know. That's not my expertise, but I know that ties into several things with the end of our civilization and with the Book of Revelations. So it could be tied together. So comets are going to be a big thing that people are going to be paying a lot of attention to, probably starting tomorrow, but definitely by the end of 2032. Okay, well, I keep getting sidetracked. Okay, but that's the joy of live shows, all of the different directions. Okay, so do we find it odd? I mean, just getting back to the questions. Do we trust the FBI to present the Tyler Robinson evidence when so many things have not been adding up? And so this is one critical thing of it's where I went to Ryan Matta. So why are we talking about MK Ultra when the FBI can't produce one photo or one video of Tyler Robinson on the Utah Valley University campus? So here is a major problem. So apparently Tyler Robinson, he was accepted by Utah State, like the Utah State A's. So why is he at Utah Valley? And there people are in question, like including Candace Owens, who was a good friend of Charlie Kirk, who is doing some real journalism. She's, got her own red flags and her own issues, and we can explore all of that. She's been doing some interesting journalistic work here, along with Ryan Matta, like a lot of Mike Adams is saying. Just kind of pulling this kind of the loose strings of this narrative apart. And this is another one. You'd think if this was like an open and shut, we should trust the FBI and they've got the evidence. How come they haven't shown us one thing yet to conclusively show this? I mean, it was a believable story on the first day, and then how quickly things change. And hold on. Google Machine says the Atlas Comet comes closest here in December this year. Yeah, I think it's supposed to make some kind of a pass tomorrow, and then it'll be the closest in December. And then if you want to have your mind blown, I think there's a Forbes article about the Torrid Resonant Swarm 2032 and 2036. We're going to be as close to them as we have been, I think, since 1975. But then in 1975, like there was an issue where it was actually affected the astronaut. I'm going to have to go back and to do some research into that. But that is one of the things that they are saying is potentially serious. Or be ready for something once in 1,000 years type of catastrophic events that could happen. And all it takes at this point, not to get everybody scared, but we got plenty of time left. These sorts of like giant comets and things, what they do is they can kick off like extreme weather events. So like it could just one volcano goes off on this planet and it erupts, and it can block out the sky for a year. You have, no harvest. You had so crops fail, people starve. Like it is absolutely catastrophic to humanity. And we go through major events like these. They happen every few thousand years, and people just, they don't remember. They don't think about things in a long, we don't live that long, 50, 80 years or so. So we don't appreciate the history on this planet that shows that we reset all the time. I've just become more aware of that, and it seems like we are like past due for another one of these type of serious events. I would say somewhere between 2030 and 2050, you're going to see shit get way more intense, way more extreme weather phenomenon, and perhaps a cataclysm, something that could, as the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, making us so much more susceptible to a solar flare that could just reset the power grid and send us all back to the Stone Age, and then we're going to be rebuilding our entire civilization. So it's buckle up, everybody, because it's going to get wild. But I think the good news is we probably got about 5 more really good years, and then it's really time to start getting serious about what you're going to be doing and preparing for. I think, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. So we shall see. Hello, Kathy. Sorry, I keep going back and forth, but I'm spending more time into the woo-woo stuff without getting into the Charlie Kirk woo-woo stuff, but that's all good. Volcanoes I don't know about that one. But yes, this is a fascinating planet. But here's another woo-woo topic. I think the more enlightened societies, the more advanced alien sort of societies supposedly live underground. Like it's dangerous to live on the surface because it's so unpredictable, and you're constantly dealing with radiation from the stars, mostly for the sun, and so many other things that can go wrong. Whereas you can live in a more controlled environment if you've got a advanced civilization that could actually work together to better themselves and wanted to actually survive. But in this situation on our planet, the elites want to keep that information to themselves. So we're going to be left on the surface trying to fight each other for survival while they're in their luxury bunkers. Maybe. Okay. Sorry, am I getting scary? Nothing to be scared of. We're all just again, this is the temporary, we're all spirits that live forever. We're just having a temporary human experience. This is how you learn things. You got to go into these planets and live with the locals for a minute. I don't know how everything works, but this is the information I've accumulated, and now as a 48-year-old sharing all my wacky conspiracy theories. Flintstones, yes. That sucks. I mean, I was so looking forward to this great Star Trek future. We just beat the elites, and we can stop fighting with each other. We build each other up, but we're not getting there. There's never been this divided with America. I don't think we're going to come together. The left and the right. Not even the right can't even agree. Now the right is split up over the Charlie Kirk thing, and now you're going to have, the Israel people versus, or Make America Great Again versus the neocons and what have you. There's too many factions. We're not going to get on the same page. So unfortunately, but this is, I guess, perhaps this has been foretold long ago, and this is just a normal part of the cycle. And believe it or not, we've been in this situation before. Or maybe other humans. I don't know if we've all been here or not, but I think this is. It's like a big video game. It's like Sid Meier's Civilization. It's a 6,000-year game. People, evolve. The civilization happens, and then it gets reset. The Earth goes back, and we rebuild. But this would be like the equivalent of, like, if you're a spirit and we're all, non-physical and we know this is like going to school or something, or going to class. You're going to have a lifetime on Earth, and you're going to live 70 years and have a family and whatever. Or you're here for a purpose. But that is allegedly that's the challenge. Otherwise, we'd all just live in paradise and nothing happens. But this is how you grow the soul, apparently. But I know. I have no idea. I'm just speculating on what other people are saying. Build huge stone things with information on them. Yes, exactly. That's why they built those. What I already forgot, because they blew them up in Georgia. The Georgia Guidestones. Exactly. That's what all that stuff is. We have a record of all of this stuff. Like I said, Angkor Wat. Pyramids. There's pyramids in Mexico too that are even bigger than the ones in Gaza. There could be pyramids in Antarctica. You go down to the woo stuff, but I mean, all of the magnificent structures on this planet that were built over 10,000 years ago. Like the pyramids are far, far older than we think they are. So there was a much more advanced society that lived on this planet before we did. Now, modern archaeology has, no curiosity, and they just say, "Oh, they're all built by hunter-gatherers." But no, the evidence is all there. Malta, Bermuda, Atlanta. There's so many different things. Shit hits the fan, it splatters. Yeah, this is the woo. I am now going into the woo. At this point, what difference does it make? I might as well, huh? I'm never going to be into the serious journalist category. TV's eccentric gonzo journalist. Might as well just give up on any hopes and dreams, but that was never a hopes and dreams. That was just me as a civilian journalist volunteering to take on the mainstream media and their propaganda machine. And then med beds will cure bedhead. I don't know. I mean, those med beds, that would be cool. I don't know how much stock I can put in that. That would certainly be interesting. Be cool to live another 100 years, maybe, if there was something to look forward to. Otherwise, I think this is the end of this is supposedly the worst part of the cycle. So of like a 25,000 year Earth cycle, this is supposedly like the darkest. So there's like a golden age, and there's the silver age, the bronze age, and then there's the iron age, which is allegedly the one that we're in. It's the densest. It's the one where our edge of the solar system maybe is not in alignment with the great sun in the middle, or the black hole, or whatever is in the middle of the big Milky Way galaxy that we're on. So we've kind of been way off into the darkness. But as we head towards more into the light, and I think that's what happened in the year 2012, when we had December 21st, the Mayan calendar. I think that's when maybe that's that last little click, the end of that great cycle. And now we're going to enter the light again, but it's going to take a long time. So this civilization may have to be torn down, and it'll be rebuilt again. But we'll all survive. Our bodies will die, but our souls will move on. I certainly hope. Yeah. Okay. Lines of pyramids, but yeah, the guide stones. That was why it was designed. It was the message to the future. Humanity. I think the elites have known for a very long time that this Earth goes through major cataclysms about every 6,000 years, and sometimes there's just a random surprise from the galaxy. Get some giant meteorite or whatever that wipes out the dinosaurs, but it's just part of the natural cycle. The Earth's or the galactic sheet. I don't know. I'm not that scientific, but I trust some of the people that do cover those issues, and I think there's something to it. But yeah, the elites will hold on to all of this knowledge. The problem is they'll keep it all to themselves. So, but they'll open their mystery schools, right? So they're Freemasons, so they can recruit new people that can be trusted with the information. But that's the thing. It's good for them because they get to stay in power and they know everything. Whereas once regular humanity goes to the Stone Age and has to rebuild, they lose so much of that knowledge, and it's easy for them to be led. Again, the time machine. It's the Morlock taking advantage of the naive surface-dwelling Eloi. Okay, Encore what? Yeah, the irony. Yeah, the pyramids. So the pyramids at one point were probably underwater. I mean, it gets weird the more you study the pyramids, and they're so ancient, and they were inherited. They were not built out in the desert. Egypt used to be, that was a different, it was a more lush, paradise. People lived there and thrived, and then it became a desert at some point. That was after I think the Great Flood 6,000 years ago. Before that, so that might be where they got the water damage. Because if you look, it's like they have erosion from water, and apparently they found like seashells, and there's evidence of like sea life within the pyramids. It's just the weird cycle of the Earth, and we don't know who built them. It was without going on the rabbit. And they're also built. Speaking of astronomy and studying the stars, they're all built precisely to line up with Orion's belt back in like 12,000 years ago. So yeah, they weren't just tombs, and there's no possible way that they were built using the methods that they say they are. They weren't these giant stones that they dragged around. There is no way that we could build the pyramids today. It is way out of our league with the most modern construction techniques that we have available. So, but they continue to love to tell us that it was just built by simple hunter-gatherers, and they just dragged these giant 80-ton stones that were just cut just precisely like they were done with a laser, with tools that we don't have, more advanced tools. None of it. It's all a bunch of shit. But oh well, that's the situation that we're in. Anyway, yeah, I heard the pyramids are underground. Yeah, like some of the ones in Mexico, they're huge. Like they're just like mostly wide, not as much tall, but they're pyramids built within pyramids, built within pyramids. And there might be pyramids apparently under Antarctica. But if there is a geomagnetic excursion or a solar micronova and the Earth goes through its 6,000-year cataclysm, you could see, I think it's every 12,000 years when the Earth actually flips. But it only flips about 90 degrees, not a full polar flip, but about 90 degrees. And so Antarctica goes from, the South Pole to the tropic, go to the equator. It goes back and forth, back and forth. So if you study like the tree rings in Antarctica, you will find that some of them have rings and some of them don't. Why is that? It's because the trees in the north we have a growing season, and that's why they have a new ring to represent every growing season. But the rings in the rainforest, the trees don't have rings because it's always growing season. There is no winter, so there's no reason for them to have rings. So why do those? And then we can talk about woolly mammoths. Why are elephants found in Siberia? Oh, they're woolly? Are they woolly? Well, that's the only way we could explain that they could survive in subarctic temperatures. But then the thing that doesn't make any sense is that these huge beasts require hundreds of pounds of vegetation to eat. And where would you get that if you lived in the tundra? So it's more likely that the woolly mammoths, or just the giant elephants back then, were in the tropics. The Earth moved 90 degrees and they found themselves on the South Pole, where they froze instantly, or the South Pole, or where to Siberia, whatever. Not in the South Pole that I'm aware of. But it'll be interesting if Antarctica does, like in another 1,000 years, if it moves back to the equator, and then we have enough time for the caps to melt. It'll be interesting to see what is actually buried and what we'll actually find on that continent, because it's allegedly holds quite a bit of mystery. So we shall see. Built in 20 years. Yeah, precisely built in tune. Yeah, they had some amazing technologies that are just out of our league today, and we lost all of that. And it's weird to see those. There's so many contradictions with what many people believe, and just the way our history has been manipulated, and how people that in the scientific community, like archaeology, that could just show some curiosity, but they don't. But I think a lot of that is because they know the next cataclysm is imminent, and they don't want to panic the public, and they don't want to battle over the safe zones. Studying the stars, yeah. Saber-tooth tiger. There were lots of like giant sloths. There was a lot of weird creatures that we had here in North America that went extinct. A lot of interesting things. We've got a lot of history. A lot of things go extinct when these major cataclysms. That's how things happen on this planet. So we just think it's going to go on and on forever, but we're about to find out the hard way that that's not the case. And humans have only occupied this planet for a very minuscule amount of time, geologically speaking. Yeah, it's a story we're being lied to about. Anyway, well, okay. Might as well just cut this. I wonder if I should. We're gonna start a new broadcast with all of the Tyler Robinson and Charlie Kirk assassination stuff, but we're gonna keep going. It's been fun. We're probably gonna move off of the history stuff here, the woo-woo stuff, maybe. But isn't it odd? So they don't tell us the truth about much, including the Patsy Robinson, who looks like it so far. I could be wrong. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to believe it was just a lone gunman who was radicalized by the left, and it was going to be an open and shut, call it a day. It seemed to be the case. Oh, his dad was mad and stopped him and turned him in. And that he was, I don't know, he's got his roommate who was transitioning and into furry fetish stuff, and good for that. But did he really have it out for Charlie Kirk so much? Was he radicalized that hard that he was going to go to a campus that he didn't belong to and go there and just to sneak in and kill Charlie Kirk and then try to get away with it? But then he confessed to his roommate and left the gun out, and there's weird messages that were exchanged, And then they've got him in custody now, and we're not getting much of the story. And the FBI has not given us some kind of like definitive proof where we can go, oh, okay, yeah, that's they're telling us the truth. We can let this one go. I mean, but the Nashville shooter, that was pretty obvious. Or even this the wacko in Minneapolis that was trans and shot up a Catholic church. Those were legitimate shooters from confused, trans ideologies, very negative and perhaps manipulated by the media or physically through the hormones. We don't know, but they lost their shit. They had manifestos. It was all believable. We had evidence that was caught on camera. Nobody doubted things. But now with this one, we're really being taking a leap of faith to trust that the feds have a major case, but everything that we've seen so far is full of holes. It doesn't pass the smell test. Oh, and this is interesting. The DQ is no more. I've seen that. I actually cut that from the stack trying to cut some of the tabs, but they are scrubbing the crime scene. So Candace Owens had that bombshell photo of Tyler, in it, like having a good time, like hanging out in the Dairy Queen, getting a meal. Oh, look. Well, maybe some of you have seen that picture. But apparently that Dairy Queen has been shut down, which seems odd. I don't know if I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not saying it's not true. I can't confirm it, but they are scrubbing other elements of the crime scene. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, they're fighting over Charlie, and this is extremely suspicious. And I'm not buying the official story. I phrased all the questions to make it look like I wasn't. All right, so thank you, Kathy. It's great to have you here. Yes, getting off topic, ranting solo, taking some deep dives, asking some existential questions. What I do. It's always fascinating. So I'm glad you guys could join in. All right. Well, there we go. So Tyler Robinson shows up at this campus. It wasn't the one he got accepted to. It's at Utah Valley, and we have no proof. None. Zero that he was actually there. You would think with all of the photos, all of the high definition video all around the campus, they can't actually show you one thing, one frame of, there's Tyler Robinson. You got a guy on a roof. I don't know. Is that him? You got the guy who was wearing like the black shirt with the postage stamp looking America Eagle thing. Is that actually him? I don't know. Or can't they just have one with the gun somewhere? Nothing. But they want us to accept it and to stop asking questions. So, and then allegedly showed up at a Dairy Queen a few hours later, north of there, I believe. Nothing was adding up. And there's many questions to ask. Some are content just to let it go and wait for discovery. And I don't think that they deserve that much time. That just gives them too much time to run some other narrative. And here's another bombshell. I mean, no autopsy. According to Mike Adams, that means 100% cover-up. The official story is a complete fabrication. So why wouldn't you have an autopsy? Especially when we saw something looked weird. We don't know if the neck injury they say it was an exit wound, but they wanted us to believe that, Tyler at this alleged angle on a rooftop, not that he would even know the layout of the university, because like I said, he wasn't a student there. That's one of the things I'll get to that. That's what Candace Owens is pointing out. It's not his school. But he decided to go sneak in there. He knows the layout, wants to go find the building, get up the stairs, get to the roof, thinks he's going to get a sight line on Charlie Kirk at this unusual angle. And then what? Shot him from the front into the neck? That doesn't make it. Oh, with a 30-06, which is a huge bullet, which would have blown his head off. No, he's got a steel spine. It was a miracle. He was just such a great Christian, and he loved Jesus so much that he saved all of the people that were around him because his spine stopped the bullet from doing any more damage. Okay, guys, yeah, believe me. I don't know. This whole thing stinks. It's crazy. The Health Ranger, yes, is saying it's a complete fabrication. You don't show. We saw. It's not only that. It's why is his shirt jumping? That doesn't make any sense. Now, people are saying maybe they're speculating that the lavalier mic might have been some kind of an assassination gadget, some James Bond, some Mossad stuff, or was he shot through the back and then the front? That's the exit wound that was came out the front, which means the shooter was behind him. Or is it from the guy that was on a security detail, I think, that was standing across from him? But I mean, I think now all signs point towards the security team in general because of the suspicious way that they were acting after it, and just how kind of calm some of them look. Unusually, like they were all expecting it, or were they signaling people? They're saying that they're even wearing like Google glasses, or the ones where you can like take pictures, like they're spies. So I don't know. Apparently, a security team. Some are saying that they were, Israeli. I'm not 100%, but that looks to me like it could very well be an inside job. I am not buying the Tyler Robinson acted alone, even though some people disturbingly think that is the case. It's open and shut, and it's all over. And they want everyone to just, apologize to them. We'll get into some of that. Yeah, it was too blurry to see that face. And I guess the family said that's not even him. Now we're going to take a little leap of faith that Candace Owens is legit and that she's not lying. I don't think she's got her own red flags and her own issues. But she was close to Charlie Kirk, and she's asking a lot of questions, and she was willing to get out of that Con Inc. system, Daily Wire. Oh, you can't criticize Israel. She does not care. She is focused on, doing what matters to her journalistically, ethically. I don't know how the Bridget McCrone thing is going to go, but that was certainly interesting. It could backfire. I know spectacularly. I don't know, but she is onto something, and she is digging in, and she is asking some questions, which a lot of people are not doing, which is disturbing to me. Which makes it, then I got to go and try to do it. So what I am attempting to do here now. Did DQ. All right. Hot dog in the shake. All right. Did you go to DQ after you'd pulled off an assassination attempt? Did you shoot somebody in the neck and then they bled out, and then you hid your gun, and then you texted your trans roommate and confessed to the murder, and then you just calmly went to the Dairy Queen that was north of the crime scene, and then even though you lived south, and then no, and then you just calmly had a meal, hot dog and a shake? Well, they seem to want to believe it. He's such a cold-blooded psychopath, and he got a little hungry running from the police. He worked up an appetite, running and stashing his gun and jumping off the roof. So it's like, hey, let me go to Dairy Queen, get myself a hot dog and a shake. California State Fossil, saber-toothed tiger. Oh, thanks for stopping by, Kathy. Yeah, we'll see you on Toxically Masculine Tuesday. That will be tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Mike Barra and Steve Doran, the trail boss. Sorry, I'm not used to saying. Unfortunately, Dr. Brooks had a little medical episode and will not be on there, which is unfortunate. He is such a smart guy and adds so much, but he is going to get a week off so he can get rested up and healthy again. I was hoping he could make it tonight, but he will be unable to. But the other three of us will continue, and I'm sure we'll have lots of interesting stuff to cover. So thank you very much, Kathy. Good to have you here. And, yes, Candace appears to be fearless. Admire that at least. Yeah, she is absolutely fearless. Going after Brigitte Macron and so many things, and to go after Ben Shapiro and our bosses at the Daily Wire. So many people would kill for a position like that, and she threw it away. Although one of the red flags on her, somebody was calling her out. Her husband is like the son. Apparently, her husband is very wealthy. It comes from a very, very wealthy family, and maybe allegedly very pro-Zionist. So some people are suspecting that she's some kind of deep, controlled opposition. But like I said, if it's just psyop on top of psyops on top of psyops, then you know what? We're in the Matrix. We're being controlled by the Illuminati and the Anunnaki, and we're just gonna have to get yourselves right spiritually and try to survive somehow, because there's nothing we can do. I hope not. But we're going to continue to fight and call it all out, no matter what, no matter who. Next man up, right? Even if it's Candace, we got some great players, but just can't trust anybody in this industry, unfortunately. Everyone seems to get compromised. If you get to a certain level and you get compromised or you get threatened or what have you, it's such an odd position. But Brooks is okay. He is recovering. But I guess I don't want to say exactly, and I wouldn't really. I don't know too much about it. I've heard pieces. Apparently everything's going to be fine, but he's just going to need an extra. He went into the hospital, I think, Saturday. So I think he was going to get released Sunday, Monday. So just needs a little extra time to recuperate. He is a machine, work ethic. He is, all the content that he puts out. Plus, he's been building a house. He just needs to take it easy for a week. But he should be back and make a full recovery, and we'll look forward to that. Yeah, the Nazi, perhaps. The Anunnaki, but that's the whole I think when you get down into the Judaism and the Talmud and some of the ancient texts, it's it is some kind of their gods are space aliens, and they might be the Anunnaki. I don't know. They're the God's chosen people, or they've got some kind of weird bloodline connection. I don't know about all that. I can speculate. But they're not Christians, certainly. And that's going to be a problem. That's the big battle going on behind the scenes. It's MAGA versus the crazy leftists, and it's also the compromised Israel first faction of the kind of the war hawk conservative neocons. So definitely have that is the clear and present danger, and it could have something to do with this assassination. It almost certainly has something to do with major censorship and with the new purchase of TikTok and the buying up of lots of new influencers to support Israel, which we are going to get to eventually. Yes, he's recovering, and we'll see. That's all we can do. So Happy thoughts. Say a prayer if you will, but he should be back, just not tonight. Okay. Well, let's keep going. Apparently, Candace Owens says, according to a source, Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson's parents were urged to go into the witness protection program because if they spoke out, their lives could be at risk. Also says that he was not suicidal, but was confused because he didn't know what the hell was going on. Because according to him, from his perspective, he had nothing to do with the assassination. He's just a patsy. If we're going to go along with that story, and as far I'm not saying one way or the other, I'm just saying we got to keep all options in mind, and that anybody saying that they have all the answers or that they know or they want to shut down the debate shouldn't be trusted. Something is off. So that's one way of controlling the narrative. Is you got the feds. They did this to Seth Rich's parents too, where they smother them with lawyers. They don't want the too many stories coming out. They want to control the flow of information. So in their we'll help you, they're actually trying to control the narrative. So yes, he was surprised because no, why would I go to Utah Valley University and shoot Charlie Kirk? Ditched a gun. I guess it was his gun. I don't know how it got there. Maybe he dropped it there. I'm happy to admit where I'm wrong. I'm just digging and seeking the truth on this. So it doesn't pass the smell test, and I'm going to continue to ask questions until I get some better answers. Also, Candace noted that they look like the apartment was staged. So it's like kind of a blackmail effort to try to destroy this guy's character. So one of the things is that it's possible. So this guy's roommate was a man who is apparently transitioning to be a woman. And maybe that was his love interest. So maybe he was a closet homosexual. He didn't want to tell his parents. And so it was easy to pin this on him because he'd be an easy guy to throw away. You would just think, oh, he's radicalized. He's Antifa. He's into furry, LGBT, transsexual weirdness. And he just decided to kill Charlie Kirk. No more further questions. It's obvious. But there is certainly more to it. I think they're trying to conflate the two. So the roommate, I guess he's fled. I don't know. He's running away. He's disappeared. But they're staging the apartment, which sounds like something that happened with Thomas Crooks, the alleged assassin for Donald Trump, who I think was. They took him out, and then they staged an apartment. So it was like, oh, okay, well, he supposedly lives here, but he doesn't have like plates and silverware. It was just like they staged an apartment, and there's the manifesto, and that's what he did. Maybe he did. I don't know. I think he might have been a useful idiot. We don't really know much about him. And if they had their way, they would have, Tyler Robinson would probably be dead already. He's kind of lucky in a way that he's there, because one of the other things they were talking about is, now I'm already losing my train of thought on this one. I just lost it. Anyway, damn it. On to something. But anyway, well, I'll just say the story doesn't add up, and maybe that little piece will come back to me. Another point to be made, and is a point lost. But we're still going to look for answers, and we'll keep continuing. But it seems like the FBI is not being very open about this. Candace Owens says she has a source who confirms that Tyler Robinson did not author the alleged text messages to his boyfriend. We kind of knew that. I covered this last time. That was the other thing that he was confused about. It's like he's been set up. Oh, okay, I just remembered the point. He turned himself in because he didn't want to get arrested. They didn't want SWAT to come in, raid his house, shoot him in the process, and then they bury the story forever. So apparently, when they knew, like, oh, what? You're the prime suspect in this murder case. No, I'm innocent. No, I didn't do anything. What the hell? Hey, let me turn myself into the police. That way they won't have to come barging down my door and my family's in danger, and then he gets shot, and then he becomes, oh, okay, well, he was just trying to defend himself and he knew he was guilty. He was a cornered rat, and then, oh, he shot himself or he got shot by police, something like that. So I think that leads to that part of that story. Okay, well, I did make the point. Cool. Lisa M had Judaism issues. Not sure. Was that Liza Minnelli? I don't have anything against the religion. I really don't care about too much what they do. It's not my issue until it became an issue. And now it seems like there's so much going on with our little alliance with Israel. It's not making as much sense these days. Certainly lots of questions. And not so much with the religion, but with the nation, the government and the foreign policy, the domestic policy, the Bibi Netanyahu, the difference between modern Israel and ancient biblical Israel. Very different things. But and there's weird parts of it. This isn't Christian. I don't want to say they're anti-Christian, but they did kill Jesus. And if Jesus came back to Israel, they would kill him again. They'd spit on Christians. I don't understand why there's so much unwavering support from Christians to the Jews. I think if people felt really sorry for them after World War II, and they should have. That was awful tragedy that they endured. However, now that the country has been formed, they've taken a different turn. They haven't been as very good to the neighbors, and it's not a very healthy relationship that we have with our greatest ally. And it seems like we do a lot more for them than they do for us, although they do bribe a lot of our. All right, well, it says I'm connections lost. Okay, am I back? It said my connection was lost, so I was like, all right, what do I do? It happens. All right, I don't know where I got lost there. But yeah, I have my own questions. I think a lot of people are kind of looking at the things in a different light, as they should. Oh, yeah, that's right. Cash said Noah's in Valhalla, like he's a Viking warrior. Shangri-La. Wonder if Shangri-La was probably a place before the last major Earth cataclysm, probably during the real golden age. Shangri-La. Who knows? I think some of those, those are real cities that have existed in the past. Story for another day. Then we've got the Bibi's and Trump's speech yesterday. Yeah, I guess that did not go well. I think Trump is frustrated with Bibi. You got a lot of people, I think, in the White House in that part, in those elements. Steve Bannon also very vocal about that. Not happy. And also they're pointing out that Bibi says one thing to us in English, and then as soon as he's done, he goes and tells something to people of Israel in Hebrew, and it's totally different. So he's not to be trusted. He's a bad dude. He needs to go away. He needs to be tried. He needs to go gets sent to the ICC. He's got war crimes to account for. And we should no longer continue this. And he could absolutely he could very well be somebody who orchestrated the Charlie Kirk assassination. Not saying he did it, but he certainly would be capable. He would have reasons to, especially as it's shown, several people have pointed out. He allegedly, now it's not something that we can have in writing, but according to multiple sources, when there was a big meeting in the Hamptons with Charlie Kirk, future of Turning Point USA, and some heavy donors, especially the Israeli donors, were trying to buy him. And allegedly, Bibi Netanyahu offered him $150 million to talk to Turning Point USA. And what happens when you take that money? You're never allowed to criticize Israel again, which would be a big play. I can't prove that. I don't have sources that would have inside knowledge on that. I just kind of have to read between the lines of some of the people that are claiming they do. And Max Blumenthal has pulled that out. I don't know if Candace has. I think even Nick Fuentes was saying that they had some internal sources that this is a real thing. And so it was very important. One of the most important things for Israel was to control Turning Point, the influence campaign. And that's why they are spending a ton of money buying up new influencers and buying up TikTok. Although that's through Larry Ellison and Oracle. He is a number one funder of IDF. They've got some heavy Jewish billionaires that are trying to buy up public opinion, and Charlie Kirk, and they saw Charlie Kirk as a threat. Anywho, the Mossad and the intelligence apparatus, they certainly have the capability, and Bibi is desperate. If they don't control the messaging, they know support for Israel is finished, and then they're finished. And that's their big dream, is this heavily secured and expanded new Greater Israel state. Not going to go there. Will he get the hostages out? No, I don't believe anything about the hostages, because if he gets the hostages, then he's got no reason to continue the war. So I think even if they handed him the hostages, he'd probably send them back, return to sender, because he needs the war to continue to stay in power. And the ultimate goal here is the Greater Israel Project. So, no, the hostages, no, not going to happen. You would take the $150 million, and then you would go on every college campus, and you would say, no, there's no genocide in Israel. Bibi's a great man. Israel is our greatest ally. They didn't bomb that school. It was a Hamas headquarters. They'll make all of the excuses. And if you say anything like, hey, isn't that off? He's going to say, no, you're just a Jew hater. You're anti-Semitic. You're bad. But Charlie didn't want to do that. As far as I'm concerned, he wanted the open dialogue. He didn't like being manipulated. He didn't like being influenced by these big shot Israeli donors who were really cranking up the pressure on him. So I think they certainly had the means, they had the motive, they had the funds, and they have enough allies in the media to cover for them. If they were going to pull it out, they were perfectly capable, far more capable than single shooter Tyler Robinson. That's for damn sure. So, all right, we'll continue. The FBI refuses to release the CCTV footage that Tyler Robinson was on UVU's campus. We can safely assume this was a professional hit. Yeah, I think so. Could have just shown us a few pictures, or maybe the legitimate text messages. That would have made sense. People wanted to believe it. But the more they cover it up, the more they act suspicious, the more I suspect they're not telling us the truth. Should we watch a short from Candace? I don't know. I think I've already covered most of what she's been talking about, but here we go.
Of most interest to me, what I've learned is that his father does not believe, his parents don't believe that their son committed this crime.
So that kind of flips the narrative. No, she's got inside sources. She was close to Charlie for a long time. So either she's going out of her way, she's a liar, she's the worst grifter in the world. Oh my God, how dare her? Let Charlie, just let him go. Let the wife grieve. Leave everybody alone. Stop asking questions. So it's very uncomfortable. The turning point, they're not answering questions. So she's going to the source, allegedly, talking to people that are in the families, both of the shooter and his alleged, roommate, boyfriend, roommate, furry friends. I don't, whatever. I don't even care what they were up to. I just care about the truth about who actually shot Charlie Kirk. And I'm not ready to condemn this man who looks more and more like Patsy. Yeah, Israel is our greatest ally. They're our wonderful friend. They would never do such a thing. Maybe. But things have changed. Oh, yeah. Speaking of which, let's check that one out. I'll jump this one ahead. There were so many reasons. Charlie Kirk saying Israel had a mandate to ethnically cleanse Gaza. He'd questioned the security breach, the stand down, questioned many aspects of the foreign policy, the influence campaigns, of the fact that Israel was in kind of a political crisis before 10/7 because they had a corruption issue with Bibi Netanyahu. They were looking for regime change. There's a lot of things. So Charlie was very open about having that dialogue, which was very threatening to the Zionists and to the propaganda and what they want people to believe. The pressure was on. Well, let's go
through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all.
This was right before October 7th that they were talking about. There was major protests. People lined up outside of Bibi's house trying to get rid of him. And so what do you do if you're Bibi and you're cornered and your people are ready to pull you out of your ivory tower and have you face justice? Oh, you stage an attack. Oh, look, they just got attacked. Oh, there was a mysterious stand-down order for several hours while Hamas terrorists just came in and invaded, and they were chopping babies' heads off and raping all the women at the concert. And there's a lot of questions about that day too. But this was their whole reason for cleansing Gaza and now committing genocide because they've killed so many tens of thousands of innocent people that they can't control that messaging. So people are outraged. The entire world has turned on Israel. One of the things I don't have in my stack that I did but I didn't get to was just the weird flight logs, the weird flight patterns that Bibi has to take in order to get to the United States because he can't fly over into some of these European countries because they hate him. He's wanted for war crimes. So he's got to like stay between Israel and America where he's safe, because he goes into some of those other places, he's going to get arrested. So he can't even fly in those spots. So he's like always like flying over the water, the weird flight patterns that they show. And we saw the UN, which I'm not a big fan of the UN, but all the people that walked out on his speech, the world hates Bibi. So they are in a massive PR crisis, and they couldn't afford to have Charlie turning against them too. That would have been the end of it. The Christian right is their most important. The Christian American right is by far Israel's greatest ally. They had to keep that under control. So they're certainly capable of pulling it off. And I would say more likely than Tyler Robinson. I'm going to change the music because I think I'm getting static. I'll put on a little classical. Okay. We'll keep going. Candace Owen says Tyler Robinson's parents do not believe he shot Charlie Kirk, which is that video I just played. Think there's any merit to the theory? I mean, again, we got to take her word for it, but I guess that's better than taking the FBI's word for it. Somebody who's close, somebody who has an interest in solving the mystery of the death, and somebody who's not afraid to call out the powerful Israeli side and the neocons. So there we go. So yeah, Ashton Forbes, who's the orb guy. It's right in his name, huh? This goofy science. He rose to. He came out of nowhere because he's doing the MH370. Was on Candace's show. A lot of people gave him a big platform, and now he's turned on everybody, and he is trying to shut down this investigation into Charlie Kirk, questioning everybody. Thinks he's some kind of intellectual badass, which is kind of funny. So he's saying she made a lot of money intentionally lying about Charlie Kirk, but her days of a political influencer are over. Alex Jones has more credibility, but I've been calling him out all week, saying lying. She was good friends with Charlie. You're just some clout-chasing orb dork whose 15 minutes are up. He's been trolling Luke Rudkowski, talking about the FBI's word for it. How come? So Luke's asking, why don't the FBI just release the full footage to prove that it was him to take the shot? But little Ashton Forbes here is saying, so in America, we have these things called trials. You see, to maximize the chances of conviction. They only release the minimum amount of evidence, blah, blah, blah. If the footage exists, it will be presented at the trial. Hope this helps. So according to his logic, yeah, if the footage exists, yeah, we can trust the FBI and they'll be great. So I called him saying, hey, brilliant thinking again, Ashton. Let's just trust the feds and hope the footage exists and that they present all of their evidence at the trial. What could possibly go wrong? You freaking idiot. Somebody says, oh, not everything's a conspiracy, but here I'm saying there's way too many mysterious political assassinations for anyone to start taking the government seriously. They have no credibility. You got JFK, RFK, MLK, Breitbart, Seth Rich, Michael Hastings, now Charlie Kirk. There are many others. They've all died mysteriously. In fact, this is now the second high-profile assassination where the killer, or looks like a patsy, killed somebody using a magic bullet. The magic, the 308 or the 30-06 bullet that just simply went through his neck without much of a fuss. Yeah, I'm not buying that one. Or the JFK thing. Oswald even said, I'm a patsy. I had the video. I actually saw some of the old video again. He had no idea what was going on either. But they shot him precisely because they did not want him to go to trial. Because there's no way they could have proven him to be the shooter. So, what do? You shoot him and he's the fall guy. And everybody can just say it's a lone gunman when in fact was a massive conspiracy and Oswald was just the easy patsy to flush away. And it looks like they're doing a very similar playbook here. They want us to believe it's Tyler Robinson on some roof, even though it doesn't look like he was even there. Anyway, and yeah, there's all kinds of it. We're just supposed to accept that if the government, if people start asking too many questions, making things uncomfortable for the establishment, they just find a way to kill them. And then even if it's a BS story, and then it just magically goes away. And this is another one of those. This is the latest one and probably the biggest one since Kennedy. So it's strange to see people turn on this and to suddenly not want to ask questions, even though we've got that's just the political assassinations. That's not even getting into the reasons we've got an end to war, Lusitania, or the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and so many other conspiracies that we could point to where we still haven't had any kind of resolution on. So strange. So Ashton Forbes, this Mr. Intellectual badass here, saying here's the recipe to shut down clowns like Dave Smith. Who killed Charlie Kirk? Crickets. If he answered honestly, his followers would disavow him. So they're ideologically captured because their revenue depends on them catering to nut jobs. It is strange to see the influencers change and start turning on each other. So, as I said, he says, stay in your physics lane, Ashton. Dave Smith would mop the floor with you in a debate on any non-science topic, and so will I. Bring it. We don't know who killed Charlie, but many of you really want us to believe it's Tyler, a man who could be another patsy like Oswald. Yeah, you really can't say conclusively who did it. All you can do is continue to ask questions, or you're going to just trust the FBI to show up in trial. So I guess I'll say it on video. Ashton, he's a smart guy. I think he's from Minnesota, where I'm from. I try to give a little favoritism for the for people, certain people, but and in this case, no, I can't believe what he's saying. So, dude, if you want to debate on this issue, I will happily mop the floor with you, dude. I think you're the orb dork. You just stay in your lane. You don't know what you're talking about. It seems like you're compromised. You've had nothing of substance to say about anything regarding this assassination, only to just trust the establishment. But I mean, who is this guy? Again, he just came out of nowhere with the MH370 thing. He didn't exist before then. Now that he's gotten bigger, now he thinks he's a real journalist, but he's not. So whatever, just some pencil neck science orb dork. But anyway, here we are. So we'll continue to move on. But yes, this is the influencers, the showdowns, the infighting, and we'll see when this is going, because this is turning into a pretty high stakes battle here with Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson's, or some, I don't know what the factions are, or Nick Fuentes or Ian Carroll or the Alex Joneses and the Mike Adams versus so many of these other personalities that want this thing to go away, just to accept that it's a single shooter and Israel is our greatest ally and nothing to see here. Very strange. Okay. So yeah, no single frame of video showing Robinson with the rifle on campus. Not a single one. Make it make sense. Also of note, Charlie Kirk announced a Doge-like audit that Candace Owen had reported on the Financial Points. It said the internal sources told her Charlie had concerns that they were burning money too quickly. So I don't know if that's part of that as well, but we can add it to the equation as another point. I had to get rid of Charlie before he started getting a peek at the inner numbers and perhaps the inner turmoil as he wasn't playing along with Israel. And then could they have tampered with his inner staff? I don't want to go down with the wife stuff. I know people are criticizing Erica because she doesn't seem as emotional. I'm not ready to go open that investigation, but certainly, I guess it's all fair game as we try to seek justice for Charlie and find the truth once and for all, wherever that may be. But certainly getting weird. Here's another one with Laura Loomer, who has gone absolutely batshit insane over the last few weeks. She is losing her mind, throwing her credibility away. She seems to be compromised, taking big money from Robert Shillman, who's another Israeli interested billionaire who had pulled funding from Turning Point USA because, allegedly, they weren't pro-Israel enough. So that was a big thing. But it just shows you the pressure that was put on Charlie behind the scenes to run his own organization. So Laura Loomer is calling for death now in order to silence the patsy. All thinking people know the government's narrative is a complete fabrication. There's literally no hard evidence linking Tyler to the act of shooting Charlie, not a single piece. But Laura is now imagining that she saw it happen, and she's projecting her hypnosis attempts onto everyone else. Yeah, they're actually claiming that Tyler confessed. No, it's already a done deal. Tyler confessed to the murder. No, he didn't. The only confession that we've seen is these text messages, which look totally fictitious, using words that no 22-year-old would ever use. That was debunked, and people were laughing at that. Completely where you just confess to the crime. No, everybody saw through that horseshit, even people on the left. And so, but now she's saying, yeah, we shouldn't be asking questions because that could interfere with Tyler getting the death penalty. Like, what? If he shot the guy, if we can show conclusively that he was the shooter, he's going to get the death penalty, and I will support that. If you can show me conclusive evidence that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman or confused furry lover, whatever, however it happened, I'll be happy to admit I was wrong. But I mean, I can only go with the evidence I've seen. And I haven't seen nothing to put away any of these, rumors and suspicions, holes. But they are, it's weird to see the influencers like this. So you start to see, hey, maybe these people are bought and paid for. And then they're also talking about how anybody that doesn't go along with their narrative are like being bought and paid for by Qatar or Qatar, whatever you want to call it. It's embarrassing. And they say that, oh, if you're a Jew hater, you're on the payroll of Qatar and you just hate Jews. Like, no, I hate lies. I hate being, told a bunch of bullshit by the authorities. So I like to question it, but yeah, she's gone off the deep end, and I don't think she's ever going to get her credibility back. But that's that. Hey, she's turned into a media mercenary now. She's bought and paid for. Good for her. She's very effective. She's very talented. She's just very toxic, and now she's clearly compromised. And her messaging is not landing with anybody anymore, and she's losing her audience. But I guess that's the nature of this unfortunate, the way this industry works sometimes. And sometimes you got to compromise in order to make money and to be able to do this, which is terrible, because now a lot of people that couldn't be effective in this situation are not on the playing field. They're sitting on the bench, protecting Israel or the official narrative. So there we go. Tamper with the inner staff. You'll get some inner turmoil. Yeah, they want to televise the trial. So I guess that's going to come in on August 30th, maybe a month from now. Apparently, it's all going to be live stream. We shall see. But all right, we'll move on. I guess so. Look forward to that next month. At least it's moving reasonably quickly. So everybody's got a little time to get their stories together. But the meanwhile, still keep hammering, keep asking questions, keep getting them to squirm. Perhaps those people will make mistakes and we'll get the truth eventually. But the worst thing we could do is just to let them just control the narrative, and then they can have all the time in the world for the next month to present their case, and that would maybe perhaps sweep it under the rug. But I don't think we can allow them to get away with it this time. It's easier in 1963 when not everybody's got a cell phone camera and there was no social media. So they're not going to be able to control this one as much as they want to, but they are making that effort because they already bought TikTok and they're already getting another army of influencers together. But they're pretty transparent. So Health Ranger saying, yeah, what is abundantly clear is that anyone who believes the official narrative on Charlie Kirk is a low IQ idiot. Apparently you have to be sponsored by Israel and get paid to post propaganda. Yeah. And Alex Jones saying here, the security detail becomes the major focal point of questions surrounding his assassination. Seems like after Charlie was shot, it seemed like everything was rehearsed, running routes like a trained football team. The security people, and they were taking photos with their meta glasses, and it looks like even cleaning up the evidence, pieces of the crime scene. So let's check out part of this clip.
No, what's true is the way they run around like a well-trained football, offense in these weird routes, grabbing things the second he's shot and taking photos of him 1 second after he hits the ground with their meta glasses. I mean, it doesn't look good, folks. And all I'm trying to do is cover the facts here, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll tell you this, photos of him.
See, right there. Isn't that interesting? He's got at least two guys on his security detail wearing sunglasses, and I guess they're meta glasses,
taking photos of him,
and they're snapping pictures right there.
1 second after he hits the ground,
and perhaps and they're sending signals.
Their meta glasses. I mean, it doesn't look good, folks. And all I'm trying to do is cover the facts here, ladies and gentlemen. But and
then the very second he gets shot, the gun goes out. Everybody goes and scrambles, but not to help Charlie. It's almost like they're trying to grab evidence, and they don't seem to react as much to this event like you would think. Apparently, people have checked this out. People in the know have seen this and are disturbed by the actions. I am not part of a security detail. I can't comment, but I do notice the signaling, the pictures, and it certainly looks like if he was going to be taken out and it's a conspiracy, then the security team had to be in on it. And looking at it, it certainly appears that they could have been. And there's still a mysterious guy who has not been identified, who people think might have been the one that set off the detonator, if you believe the story with the lavalier mic blowing up. It could have been from this guy here. Let's pull this up.
Awesome. Let's go. Keep going. Yeah. Let's just...
As the trigger man is seen activating a remote detonator perfectly synchronized with the explosion.
Counting game violation.
Okay, so there we go. This is kind of the main guy of interest, and people are saying maybe he's using a detonator in his sleeve there. It is kind of suspicious that the way he's standing there and going for his gun, what is he just had a spontaneous scratch, or is he reaching for a detonator which sends off the microphone bomb? Now we've seen Israel and Mossad. They pulled off all the pager bombs. I've seen enough James Bond movies. These intelligence agencies. They have their fancy gadgetry, certainly capable of doing this kind of thing. Doing it in front of so many people is pretty ballsy if that's the way it happened. But either way, again, the least likely scenario is that he was shot from the front from Tyler Robinson. It's either shot from the back or there was, I'm not going to go into the trapdoor theory that he was shot from the bottom, but he could have been shot, or he could have been the device, because that's the way people are trying to say, how does your shirt just jump up like that? If it was a bullet, it would have gone through it. So it's strange. Or is it just the body's reaction? That's the trauma of having a bullet shot in you. I don't know. I'm not the medical or physics professional on that. I can't comment. I can just say that it's seemingly very unlikely that Robinson, was he even there? Was he on the roof? Did he take the shot? Did he really have an angle? Was it a 30-06? No. One thing we do know, it's not a 30-06. So they're lying about the bullet and perhaps erasing the crime scene, pulling the cameras. And as Kenneth pulled out, oh yeah, here we go. There's Kenneth. Yes. Smells like a stink bomb. There you go. And as you pointed out, Kenneth, earlier, the Dairy Queen, apparently they closed down. I can't confirm that, but they are scrubbing this other part of the scene at Utah State. Or no, Utah Valley State. It's not it's a different campus. But why would they do that unless the evidence doesn't line up? You know, they don't allow you to go into the window for Oswald anymore. And I was in Dallas. I was there just to check out the book suppository. Book depository. So there's no way the guy, you could shoot at an angle on this weird road where JFK is going to pull up, and in the moving target, it would be an extremely tough angle. So they don't want people going up there because they know that it's seemingly impossible for anybody to take a shot, especially with that old rifle that he had, the bolt action, like trying to fire off 3 rounds. It was all nonsensical. So in this case, they're also doing the similar thing. So if they can start doing some construction in the area, move things around, then, you know, we will never actually get the real answer. But they're also scrubbing the evidence, as I pointed this out on here. If the evidence doesn't add up, you can simply erase the crime scene, just like the Oklahoma City bombing, which was near and dear to me. It's one of the first kind of major conspiracies that I got into in the 90s. And that was one of the reasons why they scrubbed that crime scene. Really, they had a lot of holes in that story as well. It was a lot easier to contain the information because they didn't have, again, social media, no internet, nobody had camera phones, any of that stuff to maybe contradict the narrative. But one of the things that was unusual about the Oklahoma City bombing was that it appeared that the building was blown up from the inside out, not from the truck bomb that would have blown the inside. That would have blown it. You would have seen the damage to the building coming from the outside. But when the crime scene didn't make any sense, they just bulldozed the whole thing. That way people wouldn't go, hey, how could you possibly have the bomb come from the truck on the outside of the building? No, that clearly you could tell by the impact that it didn't make sense. So they had to destroy it and then put the story to bed. Yeah, the 30-06. Suppository. I'm not saying what the hell is a depository. I think it's just not something I usually put in my vernacular. It's a library. There's a bookstore. Is it a Barnes and Noble? But the depository. What is that? A suppository. It's a Freudian slip. Not really, but all right, they're close. Back then, yeah, you had the Zapruder film, and then there was another film, but that was like a projector. That was crazy equipment back in the day. Okay, in the initial era, man, imagine if we didn't have even the Zapruder film. But yeah, it's a changing world. All right, but I did find another conspiracy theorist who thinks that, Candace Owens married to the son of a pro-Israel Zionist billionaire, and it's easier to understand the links to Ryan Matta and Ian Carroll, and you see why these two shot up overnight. It's all one big Mossad-controlled op club, which I don't know. That's another leap. And this guy seems credible, but he's using a fake name. But it is kind of suspicious that, how did Candace Owens marry some like rich prince from, England? And then how did Ian Carroll become a thing? He shot up out of nowhere. Just doing TikToks. I don't know. I'm not entirely trusting of that guy, but it was like weird. Where did he come out of nowhere? And all of a sudden he's a prominent influencer. And then where did Ryan Matta come from? Is it all a psyop on top of psyops on top of psyops, and everything's just being run by Mossad? But if that goes back into Judaism and the Talmud, and they worship aliens, and we're somehow we came from ancient aliens and the Anunnaki, then we just really have no chance anyway. So we're just going to run this simulation, let it go through its course, and hopefully get a better incarnation next time around. We'll rebuild humanity and get it right next time. Prince of Ridgetown. I can't confirm. I don't know who the guy's. What's his name? George Farmer? I'm not even sure. He's this. But something is obviously weird with so many of the people. I don't know how this whole industry works. It just seems like you can't trust anybody. Some of these people are just astroturfed. Okay, but we know Charlie Kirk turned out to be a pretty good guy after all, especially if he was putting himself in danger by standing up to a powerful Israel lobby and influence behind the scenes. So, and apparently he talked to, he had his own Hasbara coaching daily for 6 months up to the night before his death. So, I mean, this, when you get to those levels in the media, this is the shit you have to put up with. You compromise your message, but if you want to get the big Israeli money, and they're not completely convinced of your loyalty, they'll assign you your own your own AIPAC person if you're in Congress. And for Charlie, he got his own rabbi and coached him every day for 6 months. But he insists that he wasn't Kirk's Mossad handler, that he just worked with Charlie to formulate positions that he'd be comfortable with. Because you got to go, man, I want to be friendly to Israel, but what's the deal with I'm getting so many questions from college students and so many people saying, what's going on with this genocide? How do I respond to that, Rabbi? And then they'll try to make some careful messaging. But if you don't stay on board, if you don't stay with Israel and you refuse the big money, you're going to put yourself in a lot of trouble. Make yourself vulnerable for the wrong people. Yeah, you got that Mossad blues. The Ashkenazi Nazis, the Zionist zealots. It's dangerous, dangerous times. We'll continue. Charlie Kirk's security detail becomes a major focal point. Absolutely. Got to find out who this guy is with the glasses here. And why did they all jump up on stage? Let's run one more quick clip here.
He hits the ground with their meta glasses. I mean, it doesn't look good, folks. And all I'm trying to do is cover the facts here, ladies and gentlemen. But I'll tell you this. Everything is starting to really focus in, at least in my view, on Kirk's security detail. I'm not accusing them of killing him or having a hand in it. The behavior in and around all of it, according to dozens and dozens of real experts I've talked to on and off air, and then the hundreds of experts they've talked to, none of them say what we see the security people doing is anywhere normal. It's clearly highly scripted and prepared. They're clearly cleaning up and covering things up. They all had their routes ready like it was an NFL team, professionally zipping and zapping. They were all bracing right before he gets shot. You can see it. Turning cameras on him. They were taking photos the second after he hits the ground of his body with the meta glasses. You know when something's scripted.
Yep. There's another one. Not a huge fan of Stu Peters, but he does do some good work or provides some interesting analysis and some different directions to consider. But yeah, just showing the people that were tampering with evidence. It's a strange sight to see. Some of these security people. So I'm going to catch a couple clips of this.
Hid the SD card in his hat as he walked away. That's where I store things.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the first thing that happens when Charlie's shot is not like, oh my God, can we, help this man? It's to like, dig through his pockets. People were trying to say that they were going for his keys, but why would he have the keys to the vehicle like they were going to take to the hospital? That doesn't even make any sense. His security team would have been the ones that would have had the keys and they would be driving him back and forth. And then it's like a weird smile on this guy's face, that same guy with the sunglasses. It's like a mission accomplished. And then just to get the evidence, I don't know if it's an exploded lavalier mic or if it's grabbing the SD card from the camera, but they're grabbing stuff and they're handing people things and they're pocketing it or they're hiding it. Something is very, very, very strange about everything. We'll keep going.
Charlie Kirk has already left the scene in a vehicle that was driven by his security detail, which according to Charlie Kirk were all Israeli. That doesn't raise any red flags. Now he's got the camera down. He talks to this other guy. I got to get this SD card out of here. Puts it down on the table, and he's frantically trying to remove this SD card, which eventually here he will. And watch what happens when he does successfully retrieve the SD card. See the other shadowy looking guy in the white t-shirt with the sunglasses on who doesn't want to be identified, walks behind the tent, and there it is. There's the handoff. And in the hat it goes, and then off he goes. What are they hiding exactly? That's the $6 million question here, isn't it? Turning Point USA spokesman Andrew Colvett issued a public statement claiming that the surgeon that worked on Charlie Kirk, the surgeon had determined that Charlie Kirk was made of steel, that he was literally Superman. Seriously, that's where they're.
They kind of throw these things out there, hoping we'll believe it. But that one didn't hold water. That one held water for about a day, and then the dam burst on that one. But I wanted to find that one clip where it shows the guy like smiling. It's weird. Like on the security detail. It's like they're satisfied with the results of how everything went down. Very sad. Sick. Oh, and then they chased off one of the people being interviewed. I guess one of the useful idiots on their staff who was not perhaps involved in the conspiracy. They didn't want him talking to anybody because they wanted to control what happened because they knew perhaps that they were complicit. But again, that's a conspiracy. I'm speculating. I don't know. I can't prove anything.
Aftermath of the Charlie Kirk shooting.
I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off. Get off me! Get off me!
So we've got a guy making off with an SD card in his hat after his buddy had handed it off to him. And we've also got this top dog Turning Point USA spokesman physically shutting down an eyewitness on camera in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. And if they're lying to you about the bullet, then why wouldn't they lie to you about everything else?
Okay, well, great points. Can't. I tried giving Stu Peters a shot. He was kind of like this new rising star, but he's pretty narcissistic and toxic, and he's really he's gone after pretty much everybody that he's ever tried to ally with. There's it seems like pervasive in this industry is narcissism. A lot of these people, and they're all like gunning for each other, trying to be the top dog. The Laura Loomers and Stewart. There's so many of these people. But yes, he's been given these big opportunities. Like he was on InfoWars for a while. It looked like he was going to be, the next big alternative media guy. But then he goes off into this crusade against Israel. Like he's one of those where is constantly. He's one of those you could say is very much is anti-Jew. So, but he's kind of one of those guys you don't really want to get too close to in the alt media. It's a pretty cutthroat industry, and I've seen him just go after so many of the people that gave him opportunities. Or even just a little bit like Ashton Forbes. There was a while. You see some of these people they rise up and then they. They get paranoid and too ambitious, and they start becoming an enemy to themselves and to the people around them. And you can't trust anybody in this industry, unfortunately. I try to give him a little credit. He's from Minnesota too, but he's bad news on some stuff. He does some good reporting. He's fearless, but he's also an egomaniac and toxic, and doesn't play nice with others. So anyway, we'll move on. Here's the other one, the new rising star, Ryan Matta. Yeah, saying that Netanyahu's $150 million bribe. You can't turn that down, or it's like turning your in the face of El Chapo. It's like Breaking Bad. Are you a friend of the cartel? Are you a friend of Israel? They give you a lot of money, man. You take it, your message is over, you're compromised, you belong to them forever. Or you reject it, and then you get your head blown off, and then they cover it up and blame it on a patsy. So it's pretty crazy. A lot of Minnesotans today. Yeah, you betcha. Got Stu, we got Ashton, myself, Kenneth. Okay, we'll keep moving on. Boy, I'm way over my time today. I was actually thinking I could do this in an hour today. Boy, was I wrong. All righty. Well, let's wrap it up quick. But the main thing here, getting to this, Israel is in a major problem. They got a PR nightmare. The world is turning on them. And they are desperately trying to do whatever they can to control the narrative and make sure that people in the media, all the prominent people, are on their side. Otherwise, they know they're in danger. Netanyahu will go to the ICC. I mean, Israel, they might just not be a country anymore when people realize what they've done. And it's really the United States that is their big ally. Without us, they're finished. So they'll do whatever it takes, whether that's pulling off a few assassinations or buying up all the influencers. They are in the crisis. This is what they are doing. So that's this one. It's Mark Levin calling for massive investment in the info war at this conference. And even they admit it. So here's one of their agents saying Israel winning its multi-front war won't matter if we emerge from this war a global pariah where the average European is convinced that Israel is worse than Nazi Germany. They are turning into the thing that they fought against. It is ironically, and it is weird. But yeah, it's like they're the Ashkenazi Nazis, the Zionist zealots, these Israeli imposters masquerading as God's chosen people, when they probably don't even have any bloodline connections. That it's fake. So, but anyway, so people are seeing through the bullshit and they're calling it out. And Netanyahu is worried about TikTok, saying it's more important weapon to be purchased for the propaganda war. And then you have all these little sellout people that want to be influencers coming in here and asking stupid questions so that they can frame everything, get all their shekels, get their nice little Israeli paychecks for selling out America for a foreign interest. Here they are. Was it worth it? It's nice seeing Jonathan Greenblatt and the ADL get destroyed. Or they destroyed themselves, being labeled as a hate group. People have had enough, sick of their shit. There's been a big pushback on them, which is good. They're probably no better than Southern Poverty Law Center. We'll move on. Here's the new owner of TikTok. It was Larry Ellison. Largest individual donor to the IDF will now take control of U.S. TikTok.
Tell us, what is your connection to Israel?
Well, the renewal of the Jewish state is something that I think touches all of us. For 2,000 years, we were a stateless people. And now we have a country of our own, defended by all.
A country of our own. Does that sound like an American to you? This is the guy that's going to own TikTok. You think you're going to be able to criticize Israel on TikTok? No, that was the whole point. They never should have sold. If it's going to belong to America, it should have gone to American interests. And it should have been freedom of speech. People to say whatever they want. And if it's bad, they can be shut down. There's ways of policing content. But if they're going to buy this it's cool to get rid of the Chi-Coms. I don't like communist Chinese running an app, and who knows what they're doing with the data. They censor certain things, but so they wanted to liberate TikTok, and so it would belong to us. But this is going to be worse now. So, big Jewish billionaire who's completely biased and is going to control the messaging. So you got to wonder if TikTok is going to be as prominent going forward. Probably not. If they're going to not allow criticism of a specific country, that's going to be a problem. Yes, the chocolate glaze. There's there's a line in Fargo. Was it Fargo season 2? Where they're at the donut shop down by the lake. He's buying some donuts. I'll get a chocolate glaze. Yeah, good old Minnesota accent. It's fun sometimes. Okay, we'll move on. Here's Bibi Netanyahu expressing his concerns about TikTok.
The other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. Do we have to talk to Elon? He's not an enemy.
Let's go back up.
Well, Mazel Tov to Israel. They've been able to acquire TikTok. Larry Ellison is the largest single donor to the IDF, and he is going to be the largest shareholder in TikTok. This is a win for Israel. Netanyahu even said it for himself.
But we have to fight with the weapons, and the most important ones are in social media. The most important purchase that is going on right now.
Most important purchase going on right now
is TikTok. Number one.
Number one TikTok. And they can't win on the truth, so they have to control it. They have to control the message. That's where Ian Carroll came up. That's what made him such a big star, I guess. Came out of nowhere, but criticizing Israel on TikTok. And now you're not going to be able to do that. So I guess there will not be any more future Ian Carrolls. So they're going to have to find another platform. And hopefully they won't take on X. People are a little worried about Elon buckling to these guys, especially after seeing what they did to Charlie Kirk. Can't be a very comfortable position. Well, what are we going to do? We can let the Zionists buy up all the media? I mean, it's embarrassing. I watch Fox sometimes, and it's weird how they, go through the mental gymnastics to make it sound like, Israel is perpetual victim, and that college campuses are just full of anti-Semites, and that we're all influenced by Hamas propaganda. It's fucking laughable, but I mean, they're going to keep pushing that shit on to the other media platforms if they can get away with it. But that's going to be a great battle going forward with the influencers.
Number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. Do we have to talk to Elon? He's not an enemy.
So, well, he's not an enemy unless he says no. What if Bibi Netanyahu offers him $150 million? I mean, you can't really buy Elon. He's the richest man in the world. But what do? You put the pressure on. Or maybe you send him a Charlie Kirk video from a different angle that hasn't been issued to the public. It's a little warning. You send the golden pager to Trump. Yeah, this is a dangerous guy right here. This is a psychopathic, genocidal, crazy man who should be in the ICC, shouldn't be in power. And now he's going to try to buy up all these all the media influence he can, and drag the U.S. into every war they want. It's very bad news. Dark times. So hopefully we'll be able to get these messages out, because they are going to crack down. They are making their move. Yeah, exactly. TikTok. Cock. All right. Hanging at the lake with Blake. Good stuff. Yeah, ticked off. All right, we'll move on. Yeah, here's the some of the stupid influencers they got.
Imagine supporting people who start wars just to lose the wars so they can cry about it and then try it all again.
You must see anti-Semites are literally obsessed with Jews. Now walk with me.
It's embarrassing. I'm like the anti-influencer. I don't want to do the influence. I don't want to run around. I mean, there's a lot of people that just they love the attention. They love going in there, being in charge, having everybody give them likes and praise, looking up to them. Oh, they're so influential. They're so good. And they say this stupid shit, and they'll just compromise it just so that they can, I don't know, it's like the cool kids in school or something, just grown up. It's gross. It's embarrassing. But they're going to sit there and shill for shekels. Got enough followers, and they'll spread lies and bullshit just so that they can do this. I don't even want to call it a job. Just what a stupid society we've turned into. It's bad. But yeah, these influencers are all, enjoy the shekels while you can. Because I hope at some point anybody that was associated with that and that lied and covered up for a genocidal regime needs to be exposed. This would be like, spreading propaganda for the Führer if Bibi's half as bad as I think he is. No, you'll definitely not see me on TMZ. I hope not. Unless they're trying to smear me if I ever got big enough, but I don't even want to be big enough. I don't want to be in that position. I don't want that responsibility. I don't even want to do this. I want my life back, whatever that was. I'd just rather go do something normal. But no, I've been drawn into the independent media just because I feel like I recognize what's going on, and I'm trying to help out or to make a difference, knowing that I'm being lied to, trying to send a counter message, but I'm not that good at marketing, and I don't really, I don't know what I want to do with it outside of being compelled to tell truth and to put content out here and there. But not like these guys who love it, who like it a little too much. Oh, we'll leave it off. We got one more Minnesotan. What do you know? It's a big A lot of Minnesota connections today. Pete Hegseth. Slamming the woke fat generals. I guess that's the last thing I've got on the docket here. So trust the FBI to present Tyler Robinson evidence. Absolutely not. Tyler's text messages are proof of his complicity. Absolutely not. There's no way that those are from him. They're laughable. And it's safe to say Kirk's assassin was a lone shooter. No, it is not. I mean, I guess it's safe, yeah, because you can, you won't be marked. You won't be censored, shunned, ignored, and scorned for going against the narrative. So yeah, I guess it's safe in that sense. But no way that was a lone shooter. Anyone questioning the story is a low IQ Jew hater. No. That's what they want to say to shut down any more questions. Would it be better to kill Robinson now before the trial? Well, for certain people, I'm sure Laura Loomer and so many other people that are on the payroll would like to have him put away, because then he can just be the fall guy. And then nobody else has to be questioned. It'll just be the lone gunman swept under the rug. We'll all move on. And then maybe they'll declassify what really happened in 75 years after all of us are dead and no one will care, or not. Okay, is it better that TikTok has been freed from China? No, it's going to be worse now that it's going to be censored to protect our greatest ally. And lastly, Pete Hegseth, should he apologize for insulting the troops? No. This is I thought this was pretty hilarious. So I like we're tired of the woke and the politically correct BS. So this is what we wanted to see as MAGA. I mean, Pete was a surprise pick that I certainly didn't see coming. As a Fox News contributor, and now all of a sudden he's defense secretary. And yeah, he had a message, and we're disturbed by the trend of the military as they look soft. It was all like LGBT and weird, and it was embarrassing for not only for us but for people around the world to see how far we had fallen with our military. So Pete shaking things up in a big speech. Almost looks like the Patton speech or something. But here we go.
To remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department. To rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. I've made it my mission to uproot.
Okay. No, man, I love it. Saying it like it is. People are blaming the leftists are freaking out about it. They're the ones that like wussified the military over the years during Obama and Biden years. Was TMZ laughing? Yes, they were laughing at the death of Charlie Kirk. And they got caught. And they tried to cover it up. They should have fired somebody. But what do you expect? A bunch of silly leftists. This disgusting, dirty business anyway. Hello, sometimes entertaining and sometimes they get some good footage. They actually did get some good footage for the Charlie Kirk thing. But anyway, it's light entertainment. Late night. Anyway, yeah, Hegseth 2028. I don't know about that, but seems like J.D. Vance is going to be the clear winner of that, if I had to guess. Although we'll see if Ron DeSantis decides to go. I don't know what the hell the left is going to do. Run Kamala again. God, what a mess. But anyway, so I don't know. That was a funny part of the speech. I enjoyed it. And yeah, well, it was an enjoyable day. The show went way too long, about an hour too long today, but that was fun. Missed last week's heavy news story. Always good to have you guys here. Kenneth and Rob and Kathy and TK Mark. Anybody else that's going to lurk in the background or watch the replay, please like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. We'll do it again next time, perhaps next Thursday. So I'm trying to figure out a schedule going forward. I think my time is up, but I'll be back for Toxically Masculine Tuesday tonight in about an hour and a half. So it's already sneaking up. So I'm going to have a snack, get refreshed, and be back for the next show. But thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And look forward to the next time. So we this very exciting chapter of Earth history here. Okay, well, that's all I've got. Thank you all again. We will see you next time. But for now, I am out.